Welcome to my channel. I'm Dani Marie AUC, and today we're going to talk about some of the real costs of independence for those who are blind and visually impaired. Let's do it. If you want to support my content, you know what to do. You can do so by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, any or all of the above. I have a theme going on here today. I have my Stitch shirt on, and it's Stitch, and he's just laying down, and it says, "I tried." And my hat also has Stitch on it, which I've talked about on this channel. I have a bit of a love of fun hats. This shirt sums up how my week's been going. Today's topic is something I have struggled with for years. It's caused tension in my family, anger, frustration, depression. It is one of the biggest things that I personally struggle with as someone who is visually impaired. And I know I'm not alone. This struggle is all about independence. Whether that be the lack of independence, the cost of achieving independence, or the in-between along the way. I considered myself to be a very independent person growing up. And I was described that way by teachers and professors as well. But these days I feel a little more lost. I've spent so long dreaming about independence and wishing for it as if it were something only afforded to those who have more money or more courage or more vision. I started struggling with this around the time when I was 16 or so, and I realized all my friends would be getting their license and I wouldn't. Driving is still one of the truest rites of passage that we have left in this country. Now, this is especially true in the US, where driving is required in so many areas to just get around. Driving is independence. It is the ability to dictate where you go and when you go and how long you stay there. And it feels like it is life sometimes, and yet it feels so unobtainable. Now, I could rant for a while on how driving is a true privilege. It's not a right for everyone, because everyone does not have the right to independent travel. I wish we did. Many of our lives would be improved if we did have that right, if it was a right. But no, it's a privilege. And I wish people would treat it that way, because I have spent years riding with people who complain about driving, who make passive comments about how, "Oh, you're so lucky to have a chauffeur," or who tell me that they're happy to give me a ride, but yet they make it feel like an inconvenience. They make my request for choice, for independence, feel like an inconvenience to them. All of my car experiences have not been that way, but I've experienced enough of that negativity and that someone takes it for granted enough to respect that driving is a true privilege. Okay, independence is a true privilege, and we're not all granted that. And I know some of you out there who don't know what it's truly like. You're sitting there and you're saying, "Oh, Dani, why don't you just move somewhere with public transit?" And I have so many things to say to you. You're who this video is for. You and those who stand on the side with me, who understand where I'm coming from, because driving is not our privilege. Okay, so let's get into the actual monetary cost of moving, of getting somewhere where maybe life could be a little more independent, okay? First we have to hire somebody to find us a good place, because we need a place that's close enough that we can walk to public transit safely and not have to worry about whether or not we're going to experience crime in that area, okay? We all deserve a safe place to live, right? I am at a higher risk for experiencing crime because I'm visually impaired, because I would most likely be using a cane, and because I'm a woman. Let's keep that in mind, okay? So we found our place. It's safe. It's close to public transit. We can walk there. Yes, awesome. Now we have rent, utilities, getting those utilities turned on. The cost of moving all of my items and moving myself, whether that be a plane, a train, a bus, or someone with a car. And let's also keep in mind that cities with good public transit are not cheap to live in. Just roll that around in your head. Costs are adding up. I do not have some nest egg with thousands of dollars saved up. How could I? I'm on a fixed income. I don't live somewhere where I have access to a regular in-person job. Like, sure, I could go out and get several different jobs, but who's gonna take me there? How am I gonna get there every single day? What if I have a weird shift job where, hey, I need a ride home when somebody's not around to give me one? This is a topic I've talked about on this channel before, and it's important to note it here again, that I don't have savings. Trust me, at one point I did. And then you know what? Life happens. Moving happens, and that's where my savings went. But sure, there's other options. I could pack a couple bags. I could go couch surfing, Airbnb, and live like some kind of modern day nomad. A backpacker, if you will. But the chances of something bad happening to me trying to live that lifestyle as someone who's visually impaired and as a woman, they go up. So that's not really an option. But you know, if you guys want to live that life, you do it. I've got no judgment for someone who can. It's just not, it's not something that's going to work out for me. What looks like a simple statement to you? You who say to me, just move to another city, is a rush of thoughts that I have been over and over and over again in my head. Like, will this work? Will that work? Trust me, if you've got the question for it, I've probably thought about it. Next, let's move on to the more intangible costs of living an independent life. Here where I've grown up and I've spent my entire life. Yeah, I've tried to move. But I have family and friends, and I have my partner, and I have this network of people who, if in case of emergency, no one else is answering their phone, I have quite a few people I could call because they're here. Well, as was so aptly pointed out to me when I tried to move away for college, you'd be starting from zero. You'd have no one. What if an emergency happens? Okay. Not like I needed that pointed out. I have been over that in my head many times. But I'm pointing it out here for you guys because I think people discredit how important that can be, especially for someone with a disability. Things happen, okay? Next, we have all the things that we're comfortable with. Our usual market, our favorite restaurants, our regular doctor, whether that be for my eye conditions or for my body, you know, and whatever else I have going on. Let's not forget that sometimes people with disabilities have more than one, okay? Because though to the outside world, that may seem like it's uncommon or rare, it's not. So that's important to remember too. We would be starting from zero. And that's exciting in some ways, okay? Don't get me wrong. I love exploring new places. But don't forget that it is also scary because there are several other factors we now have to incorporate into our thinking and planning for each day. We have to become familiar with public transit. We have to know which streets are going to be walkable for us and which streets are going to be safe for us to travel, you know, say for me with a cane or for somebody with a wheelchair. Is there a wheelchair accessible way to access public transit? Yeah, there should be, but that's not always the case. And sometimes it's hard to find that accessible point, okay? So then we also need to know which public transit runs on time, or is it usually late? There are so many aspects to travel when you don't have your own car that you have to consider, and it might throw a wrench in your day, and that's fine. Millions of people travel by public transit every day. Now, Maybe some of this is my anxiety. Maybe. But maybe some of this is my sense of practicality, because I've lived this life as the person that I am with my visual impairment. I have experienced this stuff. I know which things I'm going to have to plan ahead for in my day usually. I used to be a dreamer. Okay, I was so excited. I tried to get out of here a few times and move away. But I think after so many failures, my dreamer spirit was really dampened. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. After a while, when you get knocked down so many times, it just becomes more tiring to find your way back up. It does. I used to think I was crazy thinking this way, but the more and more I talk to people who are also in the disability community, whatever their disability may be, I find that I'm not the only person who thinks this way. I'm not. I'm not the only person who thinks that the world is harder for me because I have a disability. And you know why that is? Because it is. The world is not built for us. It is not. People tend to be unkind, and they tend to be on the side of judgment more than they do kindness. And that's been the experience for many of us. And it's not that we're bitter because of what we've been through, because I know many people who are far from bitter, very optimistic and hopeful about the world that it can be better one day. But it's not right now. This is the world we live in, and this is how we deal with it. So, before you make that simple statement to someone with a disability, whether it be, oh, just move to a better place with better public transit, or oh, you don't look disabled, or whatever it may be, just remember that you don't know everything. We've been living in our bodies with whatever we have going on, most of us since we were born. Others, maybe years. And we fought days to do things that are simple to people without a disability. To get a ride, to go to the doctor, you know, to go shopping independently by ourselves. These are struggles that most people find simple. They're everyday tasks. For someone with a disability, it feels more like a battle. And many of us have become advocates, or are trying to become an advocate. But that choice is both terrifying and cathartic. Truly it's both. Because to share your story is very scary. But it also feels very good, because when you share your story and you see that it reaches someone else who may not be able to share their story right now, but has felt the same way you have felt, and who has been through some of the same struggles that you have been through, that is so encouraging. Because we need each other. We need to know somebody is out there who has been through what we're going through, or maybe who's going through it right now at the same time. We need that. Because the regular world, the rest of the world without a disability, often just doesn't understand, because they have no frame of reference for it. And that's fine. Some of them try very hard to. And I truly appreciate that. So I hope if you're one of those people and that's why you're here, thank you for being here. Share this video with anyone else you think who needs to hear it. And if you're somebody here who has a disability, whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be visual impairment or blindness. Thank you for being here as well. Feel free to share this with your family and friends, because I know you've probably been through similar. You probably have thoughts similar. And if you have different thoughts, more comments, more suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Again, I love hearing from you guys in the comments. Please think before you speak. Be kind, because truly everyone is fighting his or her own battle. And where they are might not be the same as where you are right now. So, until next time, stay curious. Bye.